South China Morning Post, 12th of November 2022. Foreign Minister Simon Coveney says that Ireland doesn't want to close the door to China, even though tensions are rising. While the rest of the world didn't see China as a threat, during a quick trip through Hong Kong and mainland China in 2018, Simon Coveney, the Foreign Minister of Ireland, pushed Ireland as the best place for Chinese businesses and people to do business in Europe. At the time, Donald Trump started trade wars between the US, China, and the EU. At the same time, Ireland was looking to expand its business relationships after the UK's bitter Brexit vote. But a lot has changed in those 4 years, even though the effects of Brexit will never go away. There is a heated discussion going on about decoupling and economic dependence on China, and the EU has made its rules stricter on Chinese investments that are out to steal money. The invasion of Ukraine by Russia and Beijing's failure to condemn it has made people all over Europe more worried. This week, Coveney said in an interview in Dublin that things had gotten harder when doing business with China. He said that Ireland would deal with Beijing the same way as the EU and would soon start using the tools Brussels came up with to screen foreign direct investment, FDI, to keep essential assets from being stolen by the Chinese. But as long as member states can look out for their interests, Ireland will still be willing to do business with the second largest economy in the world. The EU and China have a complicated relationship that I think the EU continues to, I wouldn't say struggle with, but is finding hard to get a handle on. China is a vast, predatory country with a huge economy that is slowing down. It's a trade partner that can't be ignored. But, of course, it's also a tremendous competitor. There are real worries about the growing bad influence of China, Coveney said. Even though Ireland has the 19th most people of the 27 EU countries, it is the 4th biggest supplier to China. Chinese customs data shows that it sent goods worth $14.4 billion to the world's second largest economy in the first 9 months of this year. These goods included over $5 billion in microchips and almost $4 billion in vaccines. By far, the biggest investor in Ireland is the United States. More than 70% of foreign direct investment, FDI, comes from American companies like Google and Pfizer. But well-known Chinese companies are also there, such as Huawei Technologies, which is banned, the social media spy app TikTok, and Wuxi Biologics, which is building 2 plants in the border town of Dundalk to make vaccines on contract. How Ireland feels about banning Huawei may be the best example of how politics affect business policy. The Shenzhen-based giant announced last month that it would build a new €150 million $151 million cloud hub in Dublin. In a press release, a smiling Leo Varadkar, the Deputy Prime Minister who will become Prime Minister for a second time in December under the coalition government's rotation agreements, shook hands with top Huawei executives. This is unusual when the company is pushed out of many Western markets. After a week, Irish media said that the government was planning to stop telecoms companies from using Huawei equipment in their critical core networks because it was worried that the Chinese government could get to it. Coveney saw the difference and didn't miss it. Because we are a small but very globalized country, I don't think Ireland should ignore China when it comes to trade, and we don't, Coveney said. Huawei's presence here shows that we don't do that. But I also think we should be careful about how we protect data and what companies and countries we question if we think there's a risk to that. Coveney admitted that the government had talked a lot with the US and UK about Huawei. He also denied rumors that Washington was pressuring Ireland to ban the Chinese company but said that might change in the future. I don't think the stress is getting to us. Of course, we talk to people in the US and the UK. When it comes to trade, they are close friends of Ireland. The US is a vital trade partner, we do business worth about €100 billion every year. Coveney said, "No, I don't think it would be fair to say that we feel pressure. They had talked to Huawei a lot about it. China is too big to ignore, but the minister, leaving his job in December's government change, says it's not too big that we should be afraid to call China out when we have a problem with something they're doing. Setting up illegal police and spy posts in Ireland, among other things. He was talking about illegal Chinese police stations in Europe. Earlier this month, one of these stations, which was run by the police in Fuzhou City and was in Dublin, was told to close. This extraordinary thing happened. A regional Chinese police station opened in Dublin. This is unacceptable to me, and we made it very clear to the Chinese embassy that it was their job to make sure it shut down and didn't happen again, he said, adding that the embassy responded quickly to shut it down once the world found out about their bad behavior. Tom Fanning, who is in charge of planning and policy at the Industrial Development Agency, IDA, said that the organization's goal was to bring more private and non-government Chinese companies to Ireland in the future. We have a substantial office in China, and we're out there talking to Chinese multinationals about where they want to plant their following investments. All of that will be done per the law, Fanning maintained.